Welcome back. You are listening to Midlife Crisis, the podcast where we take on pop culture, sports, and the undefeated father time. This week, we have a special guest who goes by the name of Adam Salgado. Adam was actually my first boss at my first job out of college, the job that started my creative marketing career. Today, he's the Chief Experience Officer at Heritage Grocers Group, and he's somebody I've always respected, not just for his marketing experience, but for the way he approaches people and leadership. So for this episode, we wanted to go and ask him some questions about his personal journey, career growth, progression, what his 20s and 30s look like, the lessons he learned along the way, self-awareness, and how the perspective has changed as he's gotten older. Been looking forward to this one all week. So with that said, here's our conversation with Adam. Adam, could you give us a quick 30-second elevator pitch on who you are?
Great. So first of all, it's colleague Adrian, and not boss, but anyway, Jeff, Adrian, thanks for having me here. So Adam Salgado, happy to be here, and I'm what I call a passionate marketer that doesn't know anything about marketing. So that's my background.
Really, really appreciate you being down to join us and come on. I've been excited, honestly. I've been looking forward to this. I think when I called you on the phone, I kind of gave you your flowers through this lens, but you're always someone that I think back on, and I always admired your style of leadership from the time that we had the chance to work together. So I wanted, the opportunity to obviously ask you questions and hear the story and the thinking and get some insight. And, so yeah, thanks for coming on. And
anytime, man. Yeah.
Thanks, Adam. Real quick, how long did you guys work together for?
How long was it, Adrian? Like a couple of years, 2.5 years, maybe?
I was there almost 4 years, but I think you came in later and basically restructured all the entire marketing piece, like my second year. I could be wrong, but
that sounds right. Yeah,
something like that. So 3 years, let's say.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been going through some change, and that Adrian was part of season 1. We're in season 4 of Heritage Marketing. So, but yeah,
I can imagine.
Small plot twist.
Yeah, a lot of changes. Okay, so a lot of this was inspired from seeing you post on social media. I noticed that you have started sharing your background, your perspective, your point of view from a business marketing sense. But for the purpose of this podcast and this conversation, I wanted to start with a little bit of background on you, where you grew up, and how you think that shaped who you are now.
Yeah. Oh, great. So, the whole posting, I think, was something that just started with, hey, I have 30 years of experience that, I can't take it to the grave, right? So why not start sharing it? But anyway, to answer your question, so I grew up in Cuernavaca, Mexico, and that's still actually home. My parents still live there. That's a city about an hour and a half south of Mexico City. And then after I graduated from high school, I came to the States for college, and I never really went back. Again, that's still home. Parents still live there. But I think what really shaped who I am and more or less how I approach not just business but life in general is the upbringing that I had. It was always rooted in hard work, loving environment where there was support for be what you want and who you want to be. And I think this whole notion of always having family around, as I think about it, translated to how I operate a team, in the sense that togetherness, collaboration, sure, bickering and arguing, but the same goal, which in a family is to prosper, is what I kind of translate into my approach today. So I think that's part of it, of how it shaped it.
Nice. You mentioned in one of your videos that leaving home to go to college was one of the most difficult decisions that you had to make.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to go to Notre Dame, and why was it so difficult?
Yeah. So it was difficult in the sense that, again, this whole notion of having family. My grandparents lived next to our house, so we'd have lunch there. Weekends was always at my grandparents' house. But the kicker was, I had a girlfriend, man, in high school. I was going to marry her, right?
Yep.
So it was
always
like,
the ladies.
how can I leave her behind and abandon her and go and pursue my dreams? But no, kidding aside, it was one of those where her and I had talked about, do what you got to do, but stay close. So I was looking at San Antonio, which was closer to Mexico. But once I got that welcome class of 97 letter, it was like, hey, I got to do this. She's like, yeah, cool. Dude, go ahead and do it. And she ended up cheating on me. Then the first night I left. I didn't find out about it till I went home for Christmas break. So, but yeah, my buddy and her are persona non grata anymore. But that was partly hard. Adjustment from being away from home, but also that whole emotional separation from the person you think you're going to marry. That's at age 18. It's kind of stupid to ponder, but it is what it is.
Oh, I was right in the same spot you were. Not with the whole girlfriend cheating, but just like you're leaving your family and your longtime girl behind. It's hard.
Yeah, but it in hindsight, right? Hardest decision, greatest decision ever, right? So yeah.
You have siblings, right?
I have a younger brother. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I remember. I'm asking because I remember when we were together hearing about your brother. That's right. So
yeah.
So what led to choosing Notre Dame specifically?
So I only applied to 2 schools in the States. I was going to stay in Mexico for the reasons I already mentioned. But my parents had friends that had graduated Notre Dame that lived in Mexico. So every weekend or football weekend, we go to their house, watch Notre Dame football. I grew up playing football. Believe it or not, I was one of the bigger guys on our team in Mexico. So that kind of put Notre Dame on the map for me. And then, the whole reputation it has for education. And it wasn't a big component for me, but being a Catholic school, growing up Catholic was somewhat important as well. So that's kind of like what got me there.
And when you got in, did you already have the mindset of like, I'm going to pursue marketing? Did you have any idea of what you wanted to do? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so I went in saying marketing, business, and then obviously the marketing component. My dad, when I was growing up, my dad worked in HR for Cheeseboro Ponds, which eventually was purchased by Unilever. So his friends that sometimes I would play tennis with, or he'd have people over. One of the guys that I remember being not impacted by, but a little bit inspired by, was a guy that was running the marketing department there. So I had a chance to do an internship in high school, a few weeks during the summer, worked there in their insights department. And since then, I thought marketing would be something to pursue. But yeah, that's how I got into marketing. Not really knowing what it was, but it just sounded provocative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a high school teacher. I'm teaching for about 10 years now. Do you have any high school teachers or even college professors that stand out that really made an impact on you and your growth that you want to shout out?
So high school teachers, yeah, there were a couple that had an impact. Our principal at the time, Miss Julieta, she was just very strict with reason, right? So at the end of the day, she cared about our development and our education. So I mean, she still had fun with the students and what have you, but I remember her being impactful. I also remember Miss Conchita from 2nd grade because she would still slap you on the hand with a ruler. So I'll never forget Miss Conchita. But from high school, Julieta was one that I'll remember.
Can't use the ruler anymore.
Nope.
Unfortunately,
just like unfortunately.
Yeah. You could probably get away with throwing some chalk or a eraser, but
I've thrown a couple
no.
markers at kids, and I almost got in trouble for that one. Can you tell me, I want to know about best college story at Notre Dame. Doesn't have to be a crazy party or anything, but just anything that really stands out from your 4 years there.
There's quite a few, but one I think that's interesting, and I share it with my kids, is the first time I was going to try weed. And the reason it's interesting is because to this point, and I probably share this with Gamboa, but and the rest of the guys, but to this date, I've never smoked weed or done drugs. I drink like a fish. But the story was that 6 guys got into a car with a pipe, I guess. I was sitting behind the driver. So the driver lit it up, passed it to the guy in the middle. Back then, the cars you could sit 3 in the front. And then he passed it to the guy in the window front seat. Then it came all the way around to my turn and it was gone. So it was out. So the one time I was going to try it, I never really was exposed to it in Mexico growing up. Again, a lot of alcohol, but not drugs. So I was going to try it and my turn came and there wasn't any left. So for me, that was kind of like a sign that, hey, it's not meant for me. So, so I think that's an interesting story because at the end of the day, it kind of, I've been drug free, if you will, for this whole time. I'm 51 now. So yeah.
It's a new chapter.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, you sharing that story right now, that just made me think of Jeff, just because I feel like if there's
very similar.
Yeah, like things like that have happened to you as well.
Right.
Okay, so give us transitioning, college era and beyond. What were your 20s like for you? You're in Notre Dame, and even this could be like around graduation time or immediately after. What was your mindset back then into thinking of career and, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to get into the workforce? So on and so forth.
Yeah. So I had so the time, let's just say senior year and the first few years after, I think were very uncertain, right? In the sense that I had a lot of friends that had jobs already between junior and senior year because they entered at Deloitte or Price Waterhouse and they were accountants. I did not have a job when I graduated. So I graduated without a job. So I stayed in Chicago, in the Chicago area. Eventually, I got a job with Leo Burnett. So that's how I got my start with the advertising world. And I got a job as a media buyer planner. So for me, always advertising was about client service and the creative process. Media was like, what is that? Sure, I'll take a job with Leo Burnett as a media buyer, but I had no idea what it meant or what I was going to be doing. So again, uncertainty, not having a job, then going into a field that was completely different to what I thought was the advertising world. And my first job was buying cable for Kellogg's. So I'm 22-ish, right after school. And I'm in charge of $350 million cable budget for Kellogg. So there was nervousness as well because I can't fuck that up. I can't screw it up because it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, again, hindsight or Monday morning quarterbacking, probably the best position I could have been in because they just threw me in there. It's like, all right, kid, manage this and don't screw it up. So
figure it out.
Figure it out as you go. And we're here to help, but this is your accountability. So that's when I started, learning that we have to be accountable, but at the same time, be vulnerable enough to be able to ask for help when you need it. So, that I think defined a little bit of how my 20s went. And the fact that I did not have all the answers, like a job right out of school, allowed me to say yes to short-term opportunities like, okay, let's go to Mexico with Leo Burnett. Let's go to McDonald's in Puerto Rico. And so I took a lot of made a lot of decisions that now I see it propelled my career because I wasn't afraid to do them, because I already overcame the nervousness I had early on.
For sure. I feel like I should already know this by now. Really quick, I wanted to ask, just for clarity, and this is for my sake, if anything, too. So the job itself was buying like time slots for ads on cable TV. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Or?
So $350 million that on a given year Kellogg's has for all their brands. So Special K, you would buy Lifetime television for women, and you'd buy the schedules of whatever programming makes sense. We had I was wined and dined by Comedy Central, Lifetime, AMC, and I had all this merch from them. And but yeah, so it's essentially that, buying the slots and positioning and negotiating where prime time or breakfast or lunchtime. So that was the job.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Thanks for that.
When Adam was thrown into that huge new job, trying to figure it out, did you have the imposter syndrome creeping up, and how did you handle that?
So a little bit, but I did mess up one time, and because everything's back then, well, still today in many places, but a lot of it Excel, right? So this scheduling that I had done, there's a budget allocation next to each of the brands and the schedule and the stations, et cetera. I messed up once, and I had put something in a different column. So for a whole week, everything was messed up. And that was a huge oh shit moment where this whole imposter component or some imposter syndrome came to light, because it was like, shit, I don't belong here, or I don't deserve to be running this type of budget for this brand. So, but that's where like leadership came in. Instead of scolding me, they're like, okay, so how could we learn from this? Or what do we learn from this? How can we adjust? Let's put some systems in place. Let's not rush. Let's not be careless. I smoked at the time, so I was very rushy to go to the cigarette break. And, it was Leo Burnett. We had Marlboro as an account, so you could smoke in the building. So I had buddies I'd smoke with, and it's like, all right, are you done? Yeah, let me finish this, and boom, 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 send, go smoke, right? So, but yeah, that was, I think, a moment in which like I thought I had failed, but I was reassured that it's part of it, right? Fail, learn, move on. So.
Do you ever feel it now? You said you're early 50s, and you mentioned before we started recording, you were a speaker at a conference today. Whenever I public speak, even in my classroom sometimes, I sometimes feel it coming on just randomly. So I wanted to ask if you also feel it.
All the time. And I think it's not because of self-doubt or not thinking that I have the capability, but more because of the reliance of the decisions I make now impact a lot of people, right? So it doesn't. My imposter syndrome is more based on, am I going to help the people that are expecting me to help them grow and be successful? Do that. So it comes more on there, not really ability to do certain things. Yeah. Because if you don't know something, you just Claude it or chat.
Yeah.
Different now.
This makes me think of something that I just listened to today. Actually, it's like perfect timing. But it was about anxiety and how anxiety is actually healthy. Like people in the CIA, like the CIA intentionally looks for people with higher anxiety, as crazy as that might sound, because having a certain level of paranoia and it comes with paying attention to things, attention to detail, looking for things to be safe, let's say. So there is something healthy about it, but I was curious to ask about that, just because I think that's something that's relatable for most people. Having a moment of imposter syndrome, or oh shit, am I actually like worthy or good at what I think I'm good at? So appreciate you sharing that. So at this time, you're in your 20s. You're a media buyer. Do you have? Are you thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna stay in this, or are you thinking, okay, like what's the next role? Do you have a roadmap at this point in your life, where you're like a plan or anything that you're ideating on?
So at this time I have a general 10-year plan, meaning the progression of people I've admired in the marketing space typically is 10 years in the advertising world, and then jump over to the client side or a CPG or a brand.
In-house.
So that was what I had mapped out. The plan kind of pivoted quickly because when I was, after 1 year in Chicago with Kellogg's, moved to Mexico. When I get there, they say, hey, the Kellogg's account is fully staffed. Do you mind working on the McDonald's business? I'm like, no problem. Another blue chip company I can put on my resume. And, as you build your path to the 10 years. But after a year there, my client in Mexico, who was the marketing director for McDonald's Mexico, took a bigger role for McDonald's Latin America. And he said, hey, we like what you're doing for us on the agency side. Would you like to come work for us? We have an opening in Puerto Rico. It's one of my territories. Is that of interest? And I'm like, all right, let me think about it. I'm 23, single, Caribbean island. All right, let's do it.
There.
And that was about the time it took for me to decide to make that move. So that path I had, or the plan I had of 10 years and then jump, completely got flipped around because after 2 years, I made the jump to the client side. So I had to change the plan moving forward.
Yeah, I remember when we worked together. You shared this piece of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been curious what that was actually like. Like, what you moved to Puerto Rico. What was that? The first early moments like? What did you feel? Yeah. What were you thinking? How different was it from from going from the agency side to now working for McDonald's?
Yeah, so it was actually pretty cool. Again, I was living in Mexico City, so not even at home, right? My parents lived an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Every weekend I did go see them, but I had already departed or left them before, right? I had left home. I left my family to go in a new adventure. So this was part two. So that part was relatively easy. They put me in some corporate housing for like the first couple of months. It was on the beach and a nice location, so it was pretty easy. Then eventually I found my own apartment that, I was so proud because I was able to pay for it myself and not get overextended with debt and all that stuff. So it was not as nerve-wracking as I thought it would be or could be. And the biggest thing was adjusting to language. And because some pieces meant different things in Puerto Rico than Mexico, so I just had to not say those words anymore because they meant different things. But
can you think of an example?
It was a great experience. Yeah. So one example is in Mexico, in McDonald's, or McDonald's had done this big promotion with Bugs Life, a Pixar movie. So I had a button, a pin that said Bugs Life. Una aventura, or no, sorry, it was Mexico. So it was Bichos, una aventura en miniatura. So Bugs Life, a life in a miniature adventure, right? Yeah. But in Puerto Rico, Bichos means dicks. So basically the button I was displaying in my office said, Dicks, a miniature adventure. So they had to tell me that, hey, Bichos here means, Bicho is a dick, so you don't want to put that up there. And then also in Mexico, bizcocho could be a double meaning for, vagina, right? Bizcocho. So first week in the office, there's birthday cake for somebody in the office, and they have cake is bizcocho over there in Puerto Rico. So they're like, come to the break room. There's bizcocho for everybody. I'm like, oh, all right, let's do this. So there's a couple of things that you just have to get used to and adjust. But let's just say that having an accent, a Mexican Spanish accent in Puerto Rico, where they watch all these telenovelas from Mexico, they liked the accent over there. Let's just put it that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
So at this time, how old are you?
At this time, I'm 23.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And then, so the Puerto Rico gig, how long was that run?
That run was 3.5 years.
Okay.
And it's a critical time in the career decision making process, right? At some point I started there as a marketing supervisor. I got promoted to marketing manager. Eventually my boss, who was the marketing director, moves to New York. And and they're like, dude, you're the next marketing director for McDonald's Puerto Rico. And I'm like, that could be great. Yeah, just give us a couple of months and we'll promote you and you'll be running marketing here in Puerto Rico. But then she calls me and she says, hey, I need a marketing manager here. And we work well together. You know my style. I know yours. And it was a big career decision because it was a moment of, do you want to be the lion's tail in New York or the mouse's head in Puerto Rico, right? Do you want to be the marketing director of an island McDonald's market with 150 stores or 100 stores and $150 million, or go to New York with 750 stores, $1 billion in sales, one of the key markets for McDonald's US. So I took the lateral and the rest is McDonald's history. So
that's awesome. If you could say, I know this might sound a little cheesy, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If you could say something to yourself, like reflecting back, any advice or perspective now, being who you are today, what would you say?
Well, going back to college, I'd be like, that first semester, go out with as many chicks as you can. Don't stay in a room thinking about your girlfriend back home. So, because she's going to cheat on you anyway. So that's that part. But I'm not bitter at all 30 years later. Let's just clarify that.
For sure.
No, I think that I'd say always show up and be consistent with how you show up. So I think there were great days, some not so many, or maybe you pay less attention because you're more on social than getting the job done. So don't get me wrong, I still found success and I still was able to deliver, but perhaps wasn't consistent and had ups and downs. So I think that's one of the things I'd say to myself.
Okay. There's a follow-up question on this question. Between being in your 20s, and then this is also kind of fast forwarding through the New York chapter, between being in your 20s and your 30s and even now, what professionally and even personally, I guess we could say, what do you think changed the most in your view of yourself, your view of your life, and the career as it was progressing, or has progressed, let's say?
So I guess the biggest thing that changed was family, right? So Puerto Rico, New York worked for me, right? What I earned, I spent on myself or invested or saved or spent on myself again. Then I get married. So now there's someone else that depends on me, right? So that changed a little bit of the dynamics. Then kids come along and then, wow, now there's 3 people that depend on you. So I think that's part of life, right? But you start maturing and, it's a little bit of the, what would my life look like today if I was single throughout this whole journey, right? Maybe I'd have that Richard Mille watch, but no, kidding aside, I think it's one of those that I think that has changed every single growth chapter that I've had just because of the consideration set. New York is where I met my wife. We moved to Chicago, where I work with McDonald's Latin America. So I was traveling a lot. 2 years after that, get a job in Houston. Both kids are born in Houston. Then go back to Chicago. For the last 9 years, I was with McDonald's of the 20. And again, every single move required some consideration for little people that were under my care. So
yeah, for sure. Well, now I can understand that. So yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Jeff, you have a question here. I don't know if you want to ask.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it. So I loved looking at your videos on your page before this. And one of that stood out was where you said Monday is one of your favorite days of the week. Yeah. And it just made me cringe because I hate Mondays, obviously. But I think I even hate Sundays more because of the Sunday scaries, the anxiety of what's to come. So how'd you kind of reframe your mindset to look forward to the Mondays?
So I think, and we talked a little bit about that earlier and how much change Heritage or the current company has gone through. And there was a point in time in which we calculated. So last year, there was a new marketing manager that was hired. And recently we have a new CEO. And then when we announced the new CEO coming in, she was kind of looking up and like doing some mental math. And I'm like, what's up? And she's like, well, I've been here a year and this is my 4th CEO. So talk about the magnitude of change, right? So throughout this whole change, especially on the leadership team, you hate Mondays because it's like, am I next? Am I going to get canned?
Right.
The one-on-one meeting that's scheduled for Monday morning with a boss that you completely dislike, have no trust in, knows is out to get you, or at least in your mind you think it is. Mm-hmm. Mondays are just terrible, right? And you shank the ball on the golf course the day before because you're thinking about that next day.
Right.
So complete overhaul of leadership team, new CEO that's focused on culture, people development, partnership. His whole mantra is, I work for you. So the CEO, and shout out to David Hinojosa, our current CEO at Heritage. So now the environment he's created, which is the importance of strong leadership, is one where it's like, shit, fucking let's bring it on. What are we going to do to continue to grow? And it's not about, hey, you didn't do this. It's more like, hey guys, how do we get together and who can do this? And so there's a collaborative environment that the whole purpose is, as one team, we're going to move this ship forward. Right. And that's refreshing, actually, because I haven't had that in a long time. So I think it's more of, and I had to have a little bit of a mind shift as well, right? Because I could be like, oh, yep, whatever, one more that's coming in, 4th one in a year.
Right.
But no, I told myself, maybe this is an opportunity for you to reset and think, hey, maybe this is a good thing, and not go in with the bias that I had for the prior years. So, right. Yeah, Mondays are great now.
I think you mentioned it. You called it servant leadership, where as a boss, you're working for the people underneath you, and you can take that into the classroom as well. You know, I try and kind of reframe my thinking sometimes. Like, I'm working for these kids, and if I show up with that mindset, like, they're going to be more engaged and happier in the class too. So definitely makes sense.
And it applies to parenting too, right? So Adrian, if you're pissed off all the time, how do you think your son's going to be, right? And what's he going to eventually mirror? So I think this whole shadow of the leader and watching behaviors is definitely important. So, and it applies everywhere.
This is a question that I actually had teed up for later, but I'm going to ask it now just because it's perfect timing. Sure. Where do you think that came from for you? You know, like I imagine that throughout the career, you worked with leaders that you picked up certain tools added to the toolkit, right? Yeah. But was there a specific moment of like introspection or just in general, like something that I've always seen in you that I'm gonna be honest, not to name any names in other places that I've worked or experiences that I've had, I can tell that you have a high level of self-awareness, and in both like the words that you choose, how you carry yourself. I see that you lead with empathy and trying to understand. You lead with curiosity. I think that's the main thing that I took away from the time. I was taking notes from mental notes, and I was like, okay, I can see if something is wrong. He always leads with curiosity rather than being like, what the hell is this? Why do we do this dumb thing? It's like, hey, what was your thinking here? What were we going for here? And then it's like you give the person a chance to at least maybe have some rationale, or you kind of close the gap and let them land on, hey, this maybe isn't so good anyway, and we need to revisit it. Right? So yeah. So where does that come from for you?
So I think a lot of it is the upbringing, right? Seeing how my parents treated other people. My dad's one of those. Even my kids get annoyed when we're with him because he says hi to absolutely everybody. He's walking down the street, doesn't know you. He's like, "Hey, buenos dias," and you could be sweeping the street or business person with looking I don't know, sharp or whatever. And he engages with everybody, right? Because he sees everyone as people. So that is a part of it. But then throughout my career, I've been probably lucky in the sense that I've had more good bosses than bad ones. And those good bosses, I remember how they made me feel when it was a teaching moment versus a scolding moment. Like the one where I screwed up on the cable buy.
Yep.
It wasn't the Excel sheet switcheroo of columns. It wasn't a, dude, what the fuck, man? What are you doing, right? It was a like, so what do you think happened, right? It's like, well, now that I think about it, I think I moved this over. It's like, all right, let me fix it. But yeah, next time what I do is I have another column that double checks the math. And if it zeros, then, you know it's right. I'm like, okay, that's great. You could have taught me that earlier, but great. Okay.
Right.
And I think that some of the behaviors of the bad ones really stuck with me on, that's not going to be me. I cannot do that because I know how they just made me feel. That why would I want to make anyone else feel that way? The example of my first time in Mexico with McDonald's, the general manager of Leo Burnett, who oversaw creative, client service, and media to a certain extent. When I first met him, he's like, hey, stop by, because there were two buildings next to each other. One was where all the media teams were, and the other one was the creative and client service, et cetera. Yeah. He was on the client service side. I was on the media one. He's like, if you're ever on this side of the building or of the campus, stop by and say hi. I took that as okay, cool. He wants me to stop by and say hi if I'm on that side of the building. Literally a week later, I was on that side of the building, and I go to his office, and his office's door is closed. His secretary's there, and she's like, "Can I help you?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm Adam. I just wanted to say hi to Jack, just let him know I stopped by." And he's like, "Cool." An hour later, he calls me. I'm already back in my office, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, Adam, it's Jack. What's going on?" I'm like, "Nothing. I was on that side of the building, so I just wanted to stop by and say hello." He's like, "All right, cool, thanks." 10 seconds later, calls back again. He's like, "I don't think you fucking understand how this works. You think I have time to talk to you and say hi? If you have something, come by." Yeah, like just
that's
like
crazy.
Completely bipolar situation. And the name is Jack, so I'm not hiding it. It is Jack.
What'd you say?
That was some. I just kind of didn't know what to say, and then he hung up, and then. I don't know. I think I went to someone else. Is that normal? He's like, "Yeah, he's just a weird dude." But still, weird isn't acceptable, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think they eventually shipped him to Saudi Arabia, Leo Burnett in Saudi Arabia or something like that, just because no one could deal with him. But that's neither here nor there. The whole point of the story is I know how he made me feel.
Right.
After telling me like, "Hey, stop by anytime and say hi." It's not like I said, "Hey, can I stop by and say hi?" No, he offered that.
Yeah.
And I did what he offered. Without me having to say anything, I could have just gone back to my office, but I stopped by because he invited me to do so. So anyway, that's just a lot of that stuff is what I think has shaped subconsciously, really, not really trying or taking notes about, I shouldn't be like that. I think just it ingrains in you. So
yeah.
Adam, do you watch Ted Lasso by chance?
I do. Yeah.
Great show.
So the quote that made you just mentioned, "Be curious, not judgmental," like is in my mind all the time now. And you kind of remind me of Ted Lasso. Adrian says I remind him of Ted Lasso, but the character itself.
Jeff is Ted Lasso, just not as funny.
Yeah. He's like one of my role models now, and I'm loving season 4. So
are you good at darts?
No, terrible at darts. But he's pretty damn good. That's a great scene. So what do you think of the new season?
I'm only on episode 2. I mean, I don't like that they drop once a week. They just released the whole. They released the whole season all at once, and it'll be on my terms, not yours. It's not like it's not like I'm watching commercials,
right?
So there's no purpose in that. Whatever.
It's Apple TV.
The first 2.
It's Apple TV. Yeah. If it was Netflix, it's like, okay, they're trying to anyway.
Yeah. But so I think it's good so far. Yes, I like what they're doing. So
nice,
and the fact that he's keeping the the assistant
the coach.
I
She's going to be the best character. She's my favorite.
Yeah.
So.
I wanted to go back really quick to the topic of self-awareness, and I know I brought it up, but I mean, do you consider yourself as someone who is self-aware? Is this something that you have worked on? Over the course of your life?
I don't think I've worked on it. I think I just have that self-awareness. And McDonald's does all these personality analyses and
really
group dynamics and quizzes and all that stuff. So I've always had a pretty solid emotional coefficient. Not just self-aware, but aware of how others are feeling and interacting with each other, and so I can tell what is going on. So one of the things that I remember vividly, one of the analyses was a strength for Adam as a leader is that he is so calm in stressful situations that he's kind of cool as a cucumber in difficult situations, which helps. In a certain extent, it helps a team kind of
figure it out.
Okay, just settle down, right? On the flip side, though, it's also a flaw, or it could be seen negatively because it could come across as he's not stressed or doesn't react, so he could give two shits, right? So it's one of those where I know why it is. It's kind of like I can't do anything if I'm frazzled and crazy, so let's cool under pressure.
Clarity.
But anyway, I think it's been there. I think I've developed it, perhaps, especially as I've managed larger teams, et cetera. But I think I've always had it.
The reason I'm asking is because, selfishly, trying to relate it to like my own career progression and professional growth and even personal growth. I have been very lucky to have friends that have no shame in calling me out and holding me accountable for
bullshit.
any random dumb thing that I say, do, or whatever.
I'll say it.
And thankfully,
facts.
I don't say, nah, you guys are full of shit. I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I'm being an asshole. Let me revisit. So, but I do think like even my time at when we were working together, earlier you mentioned that like maybe certain things weren't necessarily intentional. I know for myself it was like there have been plenty of moments where I have intentionally been like, that interaction did not go the way I wanted it to. Next time I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Right. It's very much like the shower thought when like you're thinking back to the argument. I should have said this. It's that.
Yeah.
But which obviously like people have. But the reason I was asking is because a thought that I've been having recently is that I feel like sometimes self-awareness could get in the way because it can lead to overthinking. So that was going to be my follow-up question to you is, because you have that, has it ever caused any issues for you professionally? Because especially in leadership roles where, maybe there are people that they're butt heads or they have difference in opinions. Some people, it's just action, no thought, right? And sometimes when you have too much thought, potentially it could be a negative thing. So I was curious to hear your perspective.
Yeah, so I commute an hour each way, so that's 2 hours of drive time, right? A lot of the time is spent thinking about what's ahead that day, any interactions that I know are going to be either challenging or not part of the norm of my day-to-day. So I do scenario play. I do think about, okay, I have a meeting with Adrian. He's going to present a creative concept that I know he's really excited about. What if it's shit? Like, what do I say? How do I say it? Right. So I kind of prepare what potentially could happen, different scenarios. On the drive back, there's some post reflection or eval on, hey, I could have said this differently, but I go back and say it the next day. Right. So, hey, Adrian, yesterday I said that, maybe the concept was not really fleshed out, and I know it just wasn't what I was expecting. So, let's continue massaging it and get to where we need to get. So I do act on, to your point on, I should have said this.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go back and say it. right afterwards.
that's good.
So that at least there's continuity and again, the consistency piece.
Yeah. I think that obviously leads to trust with the team.
Right.
So that's great.
Sure.
Sorry, I lost my place with my earlier questions.
How'd you guys meet?
We met seventh grade, and this guy, speaking of bullshit, was on his bullshit once again. He was a cocky motherfucker.
Yeah.
Thought he was the shit. Thought he had the nicest jump shot in seventh grade. It was pretty decent. But I hated him actually at first when we met because he was cocky. And then we both joined the freshman basketball team together. And we became really good friends in high school. I think we were decent friends in eighth grade, but it wasn't until freshman year. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Cool.
Yeah. Just progressively got closer over time.
Yeah.
I'm definitely I'm the chaos in the group for sure. I would assume. Okay. Going back to leadership.
Yeah.
Do you think that the confidence to lead for you comes from, like, does it come from a place of experience and all the things that you have learned along the way? Is this something, I'm trying to think of how to phrase or frame this question. This is like a mix of like going back to the imposter syndrome and the potentially overthinking and all of those things, right? Because I imagine that there was a point where you were handed the metaphorical ball to run, what was that like? What was it like? It's like, okay, now I'm the leader and people depend on me and we're going to execute, come together for whatever the plan is, the idea. And that process of building the trust, I can imagine is a tough one to try to figure out what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah. So I think it depends on how you see the role of the leader as you take on a new opportunity, right? So, and I've said this before in some of the videos, but as a leader, you should not be the smartest person in the room, right? Your role as a leader is to let everyone around you flourish and bring the best of themselves out. And in a marketing department, there's people that are great at process. There's people that are great at creative. There's people that are great at the bullshit. I'm very, very comfortable and confident that I can lead a team because I try and bring their strengths out. My kid the other day said something about, hey, don't you ever want to be a CEO? So I hope it doesn't sound cocky, but I have no doubt in my mind that I could be a CEO.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no desire to be a CEO because I see that I am more productive for a team in an area that I completely understand and I'm comfortable with, which is marketing, omnichannel, e-com, digital, all that stuff. I'm not comfortable in finance. I mean, I know finance, but I'm not comfortable to make financial decisions of that caliber, which I'm sure that if I surround myself with the right people, I could. But again, my role is a barrier remover to get my folks and team to grow and do what they need to do to the best of their abilities and motivate them and bring them together and remove some politics and little shit that happens in teams. Wait, I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you did. You did. So, like, is that something that has come natural to you over the career, or like, what has been either any specific moment or like the strategy on facilitating that, like creating an environment where people can bring out the best in themselves?
So, I think one of the areas or one of the times that that accelerated that maturity of leading was there was a job I wanted badly to run multicultural for McDonald's in the US. And someone that was my peer at some point in New York got the job as the director for Hispanic marketing at McDonald's. And I felt a little betrayed because it's like, hey, she knew I wanted it, and she's like, all right, go for it. But then she went for it and she got it, etc. But eventually, my career progressed differently, and I became her boss as the VP of multicultural, so overseeing Hispanic and Asian and African American. So it was a very it was a very crucial time, because it was, how do you manage someone that has been your boss the whole time? And now you're their boss, and she's told you, I'm not going to work for you. It was like, oh shit. So I had to make it an environment in which she still wanted to be great at what she was doing, yet knowing that she felt, I don't know if threatened, because I already got into the job, but she felt, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
She felt away. Yeah, it was a little awkward for her.
So, and we made it work. And eventually, I moved on to something else. And, but I think that was a critical part of it, because it made me pivot a little bit to everything I knew about running teams and all that stuff, where I was always the person, that had more experience than the rest. So this time it was completely flipped, where I took a bigger role and she reported to me. So that one, I think, was a very interesting transition into a different type of leadership, where it's like you're leading the person, not the title, right? So your responsibility or your experience and what you've done is more important than any title you'll ever have. So that was important.
Okay. This is a perfect follow-up question for this story. What do you think from all the the teams that you've managed and the people that you've worked with and people that worked for you, what do they have in common that doesn't show up on a resume? What are things that make for a good team that might not show up on a resume?
I think adaptability, because we get thrown so many things, so many things get thrown our way every single day, that the teams and the people that are willing to adjust and adapt to those curveballs that you're thrown, and are willing to learn new things, etc. Luckily, I've always been, and I think maybe it's the industry too, right? Advertising, marketing. There's a lot of movement in the industry, so. To a certain extent, I think it comes naturally to a lot of the folks in the marketing world. But I think you need to be adaptable, and it's not something you can put on your resume like, oh yeah, I'm good at project management and I'm adaptable, and so. I think that would be one that I think there's commonality there, that people that at least have been on teams that I've worked on are willing to learn, adjust, and adapt to the circumstances.
Roll with the punches.
It's crucial, and it's more crucial nowadays because of how fast things are changing and the expectations customers have. So,
yeah, I wanted to ask Adam, you've probably been in so many different interviews. When you have been the one interviewing others, so what now in 2026 are maybe like the downfalls of people that are going for a job, and what can they do to maybe put themselves in a better position to get the job?
I think people are over-rehearsed on the potential questions that are going to be asked, that they forget to share who they are at their core, right? A lot of the questions I ask are not related to the job at all, or the technical aspect of it. It's more about, tell me about your favorite moment growing up, or a memory from your childhood that sticks to you today, or favorite movie, like stuff that is not a rehearsed answer, because you ask someone like, all right, tell me a situation in which you failed, or you could have done something different. Oh, well, sir, blah, 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 blah. So I try to get to the core of the person, right? Versus their ability. You can read their abilities, and in theory, they're not lying, but you can read what they've done. You just want to make sure, A, are they a good cultural fit, and B, are they good people?
I feel like that's.
Do you have any stories that you are allowed to share of the craziest interviews that you were a part of?
As the interviewer or interviewee?
Either one.
Oh shit. See, I didn't rehearse that one. No, I'm kidding.
You can probably tell right away when maybe you're not allowed to say it out loud, but you can see, like the robot nature of the responses. And it's hard, but
yeah, none come to mind as worthy for your audience of 45 listeners that they would want to listen to. So no, I can't think of a crazy interview that. I guess one time there was a person that kept saying, "When I get the job, I would do this. When I get the job." So like, sure, great, you're confident, but dude, you're the worst interviewee so far, or interviewee so far. So
yeah,
I guess that was kind of weird.
Yeah, from a YouTube video, probably.
Right.
Check that confidence.
Maybe. Yeah.
Oh God. That was really good. Okay, I want to go back to the people leadership and management thing. Yeah. Give me the negative side. Give me something that maybe you experienced or like early on that you got wrong with leadership.
One of the things I think that I got wrong was the belief that I can be someone's leader or boss, but also be their friend, right? Not that you can't, but there's a point in time in which the friendship could be misconstrued by, wait, what do you mean my performance is not as good as you expected it to be? We're friends. So I think that was a wake up moment in which, we can be friends, or we can be friendly. We can hang out after work, this and that, but there's a clear delineation on, hey, we got a job to do, and that's what brought us together, right? So I think that was an interesting one. And another one is you can't please everyone with the decisions you're going to make, right? So especially the bigger the team. It's tough to get everyone on the same page.
Yeah, 100%. I love everything that you shared around being empathetic with people, and even like with the interviews, like asking questions that are a little bit more personal with people. So a conversation that I was having recently with a friend is, at least the way I view business and career, like I view everything through this lens of feeling and emotion. Like it's like any brand that I've had the chance to work for, I think a lot of times either people that I work with or even just it's easy to just get wrapped up into, like this product gets sold equals dollars, and then it's all like the black and white, the zeros and ones, the formal stuff.
Yeah,
where I enjoy kind of looking at it more from this is doing something for people. This is fulfilling a gap in their life. This is providing a sense of safety, like a mirror of their identity. And I feel like the best way to be able to do good work that fulfills that is, while on the inside also being a team that shares those types of connections as well. Otherwise, everything just becomes robotic. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so going back to career growth and the overall path and progression, as you continue to progress, you get into your VP role, your first VP role, and even till now, what are the bigger learnings that you had and understanding around business that you didn't understand or couldn't see when you were younger?
So I think that one of the aha moments was that you get the title, and it's not like, oh, okay, I'm done, I got here. The expectations are higher. The higher you are in the company, the closer you are to the sun, so the faster you can burn. So I think what you don't think about as you map out your 10-year plan is that the more ambition you have, the more responsibility and dependability people will have on you and others. And it's no one tells you that in school. No one tells you that in grad school. You just have to learn it, that there's ambition and there's expectation that go hand in hand. You can say, "Hey, I want to run the company." That was another interview that I once had with someone that was coming in as a marketing manager, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to be the CEO of this company one day." I'm like, "Wow, fantastic!
No,
Good for you."
All right.
But again, I don't think they understood that you're interviewing for the marketing manager role, which has certain expectations and deliverables and job scope. To get to that path, there's a lot more and a lot more pain that you're going to have to endure to get there.
You're looking too far down.
I think that's one that you don't know until you get to that point that, okay, I got to the VP title, but shit, now I have to do a lot more,
right?
and a lot more responsibility.
Yeah, a lot of the types of posts that get fed to me on my algorithm, depending on the post, there's a lot of like comments. It's usually people that, will talk about like, oh, a CEO this or a C-suite level, like their job is easy and this and that. I'm just like,
yeah, no.
I mean, I don't know personally, but from things that I have either had the chance to experience or conversations that I have been, rooms that I've been allowed into and part of, I'm just like, that's a whole different level of stress that I don't think most people really understand. So I was curious to get that perspective.
Yeah, and to add to that, I mean, with we're privately held by a pretty big private equity, and being in the meetings with them when they're peppering you with questions on why aren't we doing this and why aren't we doing that, it's stressful. It's not easy, and it's you don't always have the answers, and sometimes you're just left alone on the island to answer the questions. And so yeah, there's a lot of things people don't see outside of the sexiness of the C-suite title or whatever, So
definitely. Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to find another worthwhile question from my long list. I have another document where I pressed a bunch of questions.
75. We could probably start moving towards the looking forward, no?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I want to ask Adam, you're 51. What's the 10-year plan from now? And what are the retirement plans, if there are any, and all that good stuff?
So there's a lot more golf in my retirement.
Nice.
Than I'm able to do now. I think there's, so ideally, I eventually sunset the corporate life. And one of the things I really, really enjoy doing, and hopefully as I grow my audience, what I'd really like to do is do public speaking, like go to companies and be a motivational speaker or talk to them about experience and, tips on XYZ. So I don't think I'll ever stop doing something. Depends on the level of how lucrative you need it to be. But I'm not sure if after Heritage there'll be another corporate gig. I think this is probably it. When this ride ends, I'll dedicate my full time to whatever I'm doing on the other side. So
yeah, the next goal.
I don't have a timeline for it. My oldest just started college right now. The other one's a junior in high school. So there's at least 6 years of cheap tuition that I have to help out with. But no, I mean, I'm in no rush to finish working, and I'm in no rush to find another job or something. So.
Right. How was it having your oldest go off to college? Was it weird?
It was actually pretty cool. Because everyone was telling my wife, "Oh, you're going to be bawling, you're going to be crying, and you're going to be sad." He was so chill, at ease, loved his roommate, loved the dorm he's in. because he was so at peace, it was such a surreally calm weekend. So yeah, we're excited for him.
What school, if I may ask?
He's going to Notre Dame.
Oh, nice.
The legacy continues.
The legacy continues. I was like a kid in a candy store in the fucking bookstore and buying this and that. And
I want to hear.
I'm going to 3 games this season. I haven't been to a game in a while, but I'm going to 3 games
out there.
Yeah.
Oh man, 1 out of 10.
You have to, I got to go see my son, right? So.
You have to. 1 out of 10 scale of hatred for USC. What is it for you?
12. No, it's being in Southern California now. It's another great school, and if it weren't for the Bush push, it'd be probably like a 7. That whole debacle was terrible.
But
was
it legal when that happened? The Bush push?
I don't think it was. And,
I can't remember.
I'm going to say no.
Adrian, this is when Reggie Bush pushed Matt Leinart into the end zone, and illegally or legally, it was against Notre Dame, and it's very controversial. What year was this?
Left or something.
Like 04?
It was, yeah. I graduated in 97. It was soon thereafter. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Jeff is the sports expert on the pod, in case you can't.
Yeah, the historian. My sophomore year, Notre Dame played. Notre Dame was number 2, and we beat Florida State, who was number 1. So this was 94. And then the next week we lost at home against Boston College.
Probably unranked.
So we were unranked, Boston College. So we were number 1 for a week. But yeah, that
best
was,
week of your life.
But it was pretty good because we thought, championship, here we come. Because we hadn't won a championship since '88, and we still haven't. But yeah, so this is the year though.
Yes. Do you have an NFL team?
I grew up in Mexico, so it was either Steelers or Cowboys. So I went Cowboys route.
Okay. Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to ask.
Yeah. Do you do fantasy?
Sorry, it's the Cowboys. I don't do the typical fantasy. I'm in a survival pool.
Oh, nice.
I'm in a pick'em pool. And then one where you just obviously go through the who's going to win and then ranking the confidence pool. So
nice.
So not I did fantasy once. I came in second actually, but never did it again because I thought, I'm not gonna be able to do this again because it was just all luck.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't do any analysis, anything. I just picked, and it turned out to be.
You didn't get hooked like all the rest of us.
Yeah. I didn't get hooked for whatever reason because I'm a pretty degenerate gambler on the golf course and stuff. So that's why I'm in 3 different things, but not fantasy.
I play Adrian in our fantasy league this first week, so in a couple of weeks, and we're already making side bets, talking a lot of shit. So
it's my 4th year doing it with these guys. I have for context on how much I know about football. My team name year 1 was I don't know shit about fuck. So
yes,
all right, there you go. Yeah. What's that fantasy series on? Was it FX or something?
The league.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I just started watching it a couple of years ago, and just
had a good run for sure.
Yeah.
We always make fun of Adrian, and we say he should rename his team to a Team Chat GPT because that's all he knows.
Yeah, you know what? I got to come in with some help.
So on that, I did go to Del Mar to horse races with a friend of mine who's really into it. He has the booklet. Knows absolutely everything, knows like when they got neutered or what, I don't know if the horses get neutered, but so he knows absolutely everything. And he was kind of helping me place bets and fecta, trifecta, whatever it is. I don't even know. And then the last race, I was down maybe $400 for the whole day, right? And the last race, I took a picture of the last line and put it in chat and said, "Hey, give me what you think the best outcome is." And I made $600 from what I did exactly what ChatGPT told me to do, and it was very lucrative.
Let's go, Team ChatGPT. Take that.
There you go.
Dang, that's actually pretty cool. I never would have thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have two more questions to wrap
Yes.
up.
Yep.
So, one, where you are now career-wise, just give us, I mean, honestly, just like any advice, number one, like on a life level reflection on like what your mentality was in your 30s, things that you wish you could say to your 30-year-old self.
32-year-old self.
Yeah. And both personally and professionally. It could be like a mental framing, life outlook, what have you.
So I would say, why not me? Right. And the context behind that is, sure, I'm at a point in which, nice title, Chief Experience Officer. No one knows what that means, but it sounds, pretty cool. But it took a while to even go for the VP role or raise my hand and say, hey, if I want to get there, how do I go about it? Because at first, and at least as a Hispanic male individual, we don't always raise our hand or self promote, which we should, but it's just not a trait that most Hispanics have. Of look at me, look at me, look at me. Right. African Americans have had to do it. Women have to do it. Hispanics should, but we are a little bit more behind the scenes or wait to be tapped. Versus, why not me? I should be doing this. I'm equally prepared, if not more. I work just as hard, if not more. And I can do this. So what I would suggest and say is go for the big opportunities. Don't wait for them, and find a mentor, a coach, and a champion, which are three different things, right? A mentor guides you through potential pitfalls and opportunities. A coach tells you how to do certain things, and a champion behind your back is supporting you, right? So find those three characters in your personal and professional life, and just ask, why not me? Because it is you.
Okay, I like that a lot. As you were responding, like the light bulb is going off in my head, because this is something that I've been actively working on over the past 2 years specifically too. So it's good to hear. Okay, and then the last question for you, just like how do you feel right now in life? Like outlook, just any like signing off thoughts, happiness. You kind of touched on it earlier, but just just want to be more specific about the question again. I guess I'll just leave it there and see where it goes.
Yeah, I think the word is extremely fulfilled, right? I look around my circle. I have a great wife, great family, great kids. As a parent, you hope that they're going to be good people, right?
Right.
Whether they're smart or not, I mean, that's up to them. Well, I mean, a little bit of genes, but up to them also and how hard they work, etc. But you just want to put good people out into the world. So great kids. Again, I couldn't be prouder of my oldest. The other one's on his way as well. At work, I'm at a place in which after 6 CEOs, I have one that supports what I'm doing, is a champion for what I'm doing, and what the team is in charge of, omnichannel, digital, etc. So there's that. So from a work standpoint, very fulfilled. And just my circle of influence and friendship is as strong as it probably ever has been or will be. So all in all, Gamboa and Jeff, pretty fucking cool.
Nice, dude.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a pleasure to meet you and have you on. Just had a great time talking with you, to be honest.
Good.
Amazing.
It went by quickly. So
yeah. This was
and
a lot of fun.
I'll start following as well. So now you'll have 45.
46 now. Yeah.
It's only up from here.
Yeah. Only up from here. So, but no, thanks for having me, guys, and happy to do it again on the golf course to chat and get together. And have some shenanigans and take your money. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
No.
I can't wait. I will bring money with me.
Yeah, he always does.
To do my
usually
best.
in my pocket at the end.
ChatGPT, which club do I use?
Yeah.
right. Show me a video of how to swing this club.
Where do I aim on this hole?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, man.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
All right,
you
same
so
here,
much.
gentlemen.
Have
Nice
a great
meeting you,
night.
Jeff. See you,
Yep.
Adrian.
Yep.
Take care.
Be in touch. All right. Bye. See ya.
Bye.
All right. That has
Perfect.
been the episode. That was great. Appreciate him coming on.
He's awesome.
Yep. Let's have a good week. Good episode.